Hey everyone, we are back with our final Game of Thrones review for the season, reviewing Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 10, titled Mother's Mercy. If you're not all the way caught up with Game of Thrones, if you haven't seen the Season 5 finale yet, you're going to want to stop watching the video right now because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Okay. This episode had so many surprises.
Yeah, lots of, oh my god, I didn't see that coming moments.
And the very first one is Stannis' wife. She hung herself. And I didn't see that coming at all.
No, me either.
Because of the two of them, I mean, she clearly took it harder in the moment when Princess Shireen was being burnt alive. But of the two of them, she's also the more devout follower of the Lord of Light. So I thought maybe she would recover and Stannis would have the downward spiral, but no.
Yeah, no. She was like, she just gave up.
Yeah.
And it's actually, because she's so devout, I was actually a little surprised that she hung herself instead of burning herself alive.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if she was going to kill herself, she should at least sacrifice herself to the Lord of the Light.
Yeah. If they had found her charred remains or something. Also, not really a surprise, but half of Stannis' army just fucking left.
Yeah, which we totally called. How can you watch the person who's leading you do that to their daughter and stay? Yeah, that was totally not a surprise.
So half of them left overnight, and then as soon as the battle started, they have this long shot, and even more of them are leaving, and right at the start of the battle, they're like, peace out, we're going.
Well, I mean, who loses half their army, all of their horses, and decides to go to battle anyway? Stannis. That's who.
Stannis is not the Manus.
So Arya, as expected, went to kill Trant, and I thought she would botch it and it wouldn't work, but oh my gosh, Arya's a badass. Like, she took him down.
Yeah. She stabbed him in the eyes, she called him out, she's like, do you know who I am? Do you know my name? I'm Arya Stark. And she's completely owning the moment, and you can just see her confidence building and building and building. And I think she got a little too confident. So, because she goes back to the House of Black and White and gets immediately called out.
Yeah.
Because she took a life that wasn't hers to take.
Yeah. And there's this crazy scene where the one girl's holding her back, and Jaqen H'ghar tells her, you know, the only way to pay for a life is to give a life, and he's got this vial, and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? No, you can't kill Arya. And he takes the poison, or whatever it is, and falls down dead. And of course she's upset because he's the reason she's there.
Yeah.
But then the girl who's holding her is him. And she starts pulling the faces off of the person lying on the ground, because it's not him. And she pulls off until it gets to her face, and then all of a sudden she starts to go blind. Yeah. And it was an incredible scene. It was really, really awesome.
I had accidentally spoiled myself for this part. You know, I wanted to find out before I got too far in the series if Arya was going to die, because for the entire first book, she's my favorite character. So I looked her up on the Game of Thrones wiki, and I was like, okay, Arya, you know, as of the end of the 5th book, she's still alive, but she's blind. So I knew this was coming, but it was still an amazingly powerful scene. And I thought when he pulled out that vial, since she had stabbed Meryn Trant in the eyes, I thought he was just going to grab her and drop the drops in her eyes, and then she would be blind. But no, apparently it's some kind of magic.
Yeah, and actually in the book, this happens to her, but in a completely different way. And like how they went about getting her to this stage was just absolutely amazing, because she gets to this stage, but it's different. It's definitely not this hardcore. So they did an amazing job getting her to this stage in her story.
And the question begs, you know, is her blindness temporary?
Or is it not?
I think it's got to be temporary, because I think they still want her to be part of the House of Black and White.
I think it's a punishment.
Yeah, and I think, you know, eventually it's going to wear off, or they're going to remove the curse, or whatever. But I think this is a temporary ailment.
So I was wrong about Dorne. I just assumed that something boring would happen in Dorne, and then they'd be on their way to King's Landing, because Dorne has been a huge disappointment for this entire season. But I was happily incorrect. And as soon as Oberyn's lover kissed Myrcella, I knew something was up. I was like, that's really weird. She wouldn't do something like that without an agenda. And it didn't even, for some reason, I don't know why, because Dornish women are associated with poison all up and down the story, but I didn't think that she was poisoned. I was just like, that's really weird. It just struck me as odd. But yeah, she was poisoned, and
we gotta assume that she's dead, but we didn't see her actually die.
Yeah, if I know Oberyn's lover, sorry, I can't remember her name. If I know her character, it is not going to be fast. It is going to be a slow, agonizing death, and she got it too because her nose started to bleed, but she had the antidote, and so now are they going to turn around and get the antidote, or are they going to continue on and try to beat it in King's Landing?
Right.
Who knows?
We do spend a little bit of time in Meereen, and Ser Jorah and Daario are going to go out looking for Daenerys because she's still gone after she flew away on the dragon. So they're like, look, we got to go find her. She's out there in the wild alone. Who knows what could happen. So Tyrion at first really, really wants to go with them, but they talk him into staying. And they're like, look, you know how to run a city. Missandei and Grey Worm are trusted among the people, so you three need to stay behind and make sure the city doesn't burn down while we're gone.
Yeah.
And so Tyrion, he's reluctantly accepting of this, and as he's staring out over the city, looking, just soaking it all in, I guess, Varys shows up. So I think Meereen is in pretty good hands until Daenerys comes back.
And this is exciting because Tyrion and Varys helping to run Meereen.
They're a good team.
Yeah, they are a good team. And Tyrion is really, really politically smart. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, I think that when Daenerys comes back, she's going to see what they've done. And that's going to, solidify her decision to have Tyrion by her side throughout the rest of the show. Because I think they're going to do a good job on it. And I still think that her husband is alive, or her husband-to-be. I still think he's alive. Even though he wasn't shown, I still think he's alive.
I think when Daenerys gets back, she's going to find Meereen in better shape than when she left. And I think that's going to shake her confidence some. So I think next season, she's going to have this crisis of confidence as it pertains to Meereen. But while she's out in the wild, she's talking to Drogon. She's like, we got to go home, and he's just not up to it.
Yeah, well, he's injured. He's probably tired. Yeah, he just wants to curl up and sleep.
he's injured, tired, and hungry. Although he's surrounded by charred bones, so presumably he's been fed. But she's like, well, somebody's got to hunt for us. So she goes off walking on her own. And as she's walking, she sees in the distance all these different horsemen, and they all, ride around her, and they surround her. And it was kind of hard to tell. I think they're Dothraki.
See, I don't. I think that... See, the Dothraki were in, the deserty area, and this is a very green area, but we didn't get a good look at them, so who knows? It could be the Dothraki. Maybe it's just a Dothraki tribe that was on the outskirts and comes into this green area occasionally. I don't know.
And it's been a few years since she was with the Dothraki, so in that time, they could have decided that, she's the mother of dragons, and they could have heard, just by word of mouth, everything that she's done. And, all the Dothraki could have decided to unite behind her, and they could be on their way to meet her.
Yeah.
And she met them halfway. I don't really know. I'm totally just spitballing right out of my mind. I could be completely off base. And if you know, let me know in the comments, because if I'm wrong, I want to know. I don't want to go, this entire hiatus thinking that the Dothraki have come to meet Daenerys and be wrong about it. Okay, let's talk about Cersei, because her whole story in this episode was very, very tense.
Yeah, this is what I've been waiting for all season. All season, what I've been hinting at, I know what's going to happen in the season finale, it was this scene. I knew that they were going to end it with this scene. So I've just been sitting here patiently waiting for it to happen because, if anybody deserves it, it's her.
But I think after this, Cersei right now, she's been punished. She is completely broken as a person.
Yeah.
But if anybody can hold a grudge, it is Cersei. And I think the High Sparrow is going to pay in blood.
Yeah, I think... I definitely agree. I think the church is in for a reckoning because she put them there, which kind of makes her downfall by them that much sweeter because she's the one who put them in power. Yeah. But I do think she will get revenge because that's just the type of person she is.
It might take her a while to get there because she is just shattered.
Yeah, she is broken.
But I think especially when Jaime gets back, I think she's going to put herself back together. He's going to help, and I think the two of them together, look out, Sparrows, because you guys are fucked. Yeah. Oh my God.
And what's crazy is she still has a trial to go to.
Yeah.
Like, she only confessed a part of the sins that were put against her, and because she did that and took penance, she was allowed to go home. Also, this whole season, have been crossing my fingers that they actually did a shave her head scene where they actually cut off all her hair and didn't just skip that, because they did skip that with Daenerys. Daenerys was supposed to come out of the fire bald. It fried all her hair, and so she was bald for, in the books. And they didn't do that, which I can understand. But I was really, really hoping that they did the hair cutting scene in Cersei, because I think that, as well as the walk of shame, combined made her punishment, and is that combination is what broke her.
Yeah. And let's also talk about Sansa. She wasn't in this episode very long, but what she did do was very important.
Yes. So we saw her steal, it looked like a corkscrew, like a wine bottle or whatever corkscrew, but we saw her steal that, and we're like, oh God, she's going to try to escape and try to stab somebody and fail miserably because she's not a very physically strong character. And no, she used it to bust out of her room, and I was like, yes, go Sansa.
So she's making her way out. She lights the candle, first of all, and her timing is just terrible.
Gosh.
Because Podrick tells Breanne that Stannis' army is on its way. So she has to kind of make this choice. Do I keep watch for this candle that hasn't lit in however long she's been there? Or do I go avenge Renly? And her honor code dictates that she goes and avenges Renly.
Yes.
And no sooner does she turn her back than
Sansa's lit.
Sansa lights the candle, and wow, bad luck, Sansa.
Yeah.
So she kind of, leaves the tower kind of dejected, because I think she kind of thought that as soon as I light the candle, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, and it wasn't. But she didn't give up.
Right.
She wasn't going back to her room. She was trying to escape.
Yeah, but I think she was disappointed that, magic didn't just whisk her away. Because I think she still kind of lives in that kind of, well, it's a fantasy TV show, but she lives in a fantasy land in this fantasy world where she just kind of thinks that, things will magically take care of her, and it never happens.
Yeah. I definitely think she assumed she'd be saved, but kudos to them for writing her character strong enough to not just give up and go back to her room. She then headed towards an escape, and unfortunately, Theon and Ramsay's former lover stop her. And we finally get the moment from Theon we've been waiting for, and he pushes her over the wall, and she goes splat on the pavement. He grabs Sansa's hand, and they run to the top of the castle wall, and they jump into the snowdrift that's up against the wall.
Yep. So Sansa and Theon make their escape together. And this is a great, great moment for both characters because, well, Theon, while we've kind of never liked him throughout the entire series, we've been waiting for him to come back into himself. And it seems like he's not Reek anymore. He's Theon again.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting for Sansa to finally, make a move and do something for yourself.
Help herself.
And stop letting things happen to you and make things happen for yourself. And she finally got there. So that was really, really great to see.
Yes.
One of the things that kind of took me by surprise a little bit, Melisandre came back to Castle Black.
Yeah. I don't even know what she was thinking because she wasn't welcome there.
No.
But I guess it's the closest place to seek shelter, so that's where she went and basically informed everybody that Stannis is done. His army, his entire family, they're all dead.
And she gave all these prophecies, I've seen you taking Winterfell, I've seen you defeating the Bolton's army, blah, blah, blah. And then half his men leave, his wife kills herself, and she's like, you know what, I'm just going to leave.
It's like she knew that he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if, because she goes to him before he finds out about his wife and tells him that she sees Bolton banners burning. And I have to wonder if that's not what she saw. If she saw Stannis losing and decided to send him on his way and get out of there, because I wonder if she no longer thinks that he's the chosen one.
Right. So Melisandre comes back to Castle Black, and then Jon, he gets tricked.
Yeah.
He gets lured into a trap. They tell him that a wildling has seen his uncle, and he has to go talk to this wildling, so he goes down there to meet him. And
without grabbing his sword or anything?
Completely unarmed, completely unprepared, and they get him in a corner, and they just, his black brothers just take turns stabbing him.
Yeah.
And
he gets stabbed like 6 times.
And that to me is, well, I can't call it the most surprising moment of the season, but it was the most surprising moment of this episode.
Yeah, I did not expect that to happen. And I mean, they show him on the ground. He surely looks dead, and there's blood all around him. And I'm still going, no, they're gonna save him. There's gonna be a way that they save him. He's not dead. Something has to happen. Melisandre's gonna save him. Somebody's gonna save him.
I think that's what it's gonna be. I think Melisandre is going to save Jon. I'm still of the opinion that Jon Snow is the 3rd Targaryen.
And I still think he's important. I don't think his story's done yet. I mean, his story is completely different from the book, so I can't even draw on that knowledge. But I don't think he's done yet. So I think they're tricking us into thinking Jon Snow is dead, and he will be revived next season. And I just had a thought. They didn't bring back Caitlyn.
That's true. So, a little thing from the books here. You know, Caitlyn Stark was killed during the Red Wedding, but she resurrected as Lady Stoneheart. Her throat was slit and she couldn't speak, but she was still Lady Caitlyn.
Yeah, and she was helping. And they didn't do that with her in the show, and I just had this thought,
what if they do that with Jon Snow?
Yeah, what if that's Jon Snow? What if he gets revived like that? So he's not Jon Snow anymore. He's going to come back maybe as Lord Stoneheart. I don't even know, but, you know, what if he comes back like that and he takes zombie Caitlyn's place?
That's an interesting thought. So, love to know what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
Do you think Jon Snow is dead, first of all, or do you think they're going to replace Lady Stoneheart with Lord Stoneheart? So, one thing we forgot to mention when we were talking about Cersei, there's a new member of the Kingsguard, and he's taken an oath of silence. So, who is this?
Yeah.
And we kind of know.
Yeah, when the Mountain was stabbed and he had the poison, she took him down to, and I forget the guy's name, but he's basically the mad scientist of King's Landing, and he runs experiments on him. I think it's him. I think that's the Mountain. I think he's done something, and he is...
Is it Zombie Mountain?
I don't know, but I think he's definitely some form of undead. His skin was very dark and almost purpley. But I do think that's the Mountain. I think it's not a normal mountain. It's like Frankenstein the Mountain. Franken Mountain.
It's Franken Mountain. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. I'm thinking when Cersei finally comes back into herself and it comes time to have a reckoning with the High Sparrow, why not send Franken Mountain?
Yeah.
He'll just mow through all of them. All right, I think that's pretty much everything. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments. What did you think of this season? What did you think of this episode? Let us know in the comments.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. And on Fridays, we do a Topic of the Week video, and we always need topics for that. So if you have a suggestion for us, put that down in the comments below. And on Friday, we will look through all of them, choose the one we think we can make the best video for, and we will post that.
Okay, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time.